We're reading the Quran. We're on Ahsab, Sura 33, and we say Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Okay. Among the believers are men who have been true to their covenant with Allah. See? True to their covenant with Allah. Don't make oaths you can't keep. Of them, some have completed their vow to the extreme and some still wait, but they have never changed their determination in the least. I like this verse. That Allah may reward the men of truth for their truth, and punish the hypocrites if that be His will, or turn to them in mercy, for Allah is oft-forgiving, most merciful. And Allah turned back the unbelievers for all their fury, no advantage did they gain, and enough is Allah for the believers in their fight. And Allah is full of strength, able to enforce His will. And those of the people of the book who aided them, Allah did take them down from their strongholds and cast terror into their hearts, so that some ye slew and some ye made prisoners. And He made you heirs of their lands, their houses and their goods, and of a land which ye had not frequented before. And Allah has power over all things. O Prophet, say to thy consorts, if it be that ye desire the life of this world and its glitter, then come. I will provide for your enjoyment and set you free in a handsome manner. But if ye seek Allah and His Apostle, and the home of the hereafter, verily Allah has prepared for the well-doers amongst you a great reward. O consorts of the Prophet, if any of you were guilty of evident unseemly conduct, the punishment would be doubled to her, and that is easy for Allah. Third one. But any of you that is devout in the service of Allah and His Apostle, and works righteousness, to her shall we grant her reward twice, and we have prepared for her a generous sustenance. O consort of the Prophet, ye are not like any of the other women. If ye do fear God, be not too complacent of speech, lest one in whose heart is a disease should be moved with desire. But speak ye a speech that is just, and stay quietly in your houses, and make not a dazzling display like that of the former times. Okay, interesting. Stay quietly in your houses. Kind of like make sure your home is peaceful, do your duty to your home. Make not a dazzling display. Like don't overly focus on like keeping up with the Joneses, we call it, where it's like you see your neighbor, their lawn looks better, you want to make it even better. You see they just put new siding on the side of their house, you want to do it. Oh, they just put in a street lamp, you got to put in a street lamp, but it has 2 lights. I see what he's saying. Like that of the former times of ignorance, and establish regular prayer and give regular charity, and obey Allah and His Apostle. Okay, so this looks like consorts of the Prophet. Does that mean like the women who like prophets? Interesting. And Allah only wishes to remove all abomination from you, ye members of the family, and to make you pure and spotless. And recite what is rehearsed to you in your homes, of the signs of Allah and His wisdom, for Allah understands the finest mysteries, and is well acquainted with them. For Muslim men and women, for believing men and women, for devout men and women, for true men and women, for men and women who are patient and constant, for men and women who humble themselves, for men and women who give in charity, for men and women who fast and deny themselves, for men and women who guard their chastity, and for men and women who engage in much in Allah's praise. For them has Allah prepared forgiveness and great reward. And stay quietly in your houses and make not a dazzling display. There is a lot of people in the world who I've met, a lot of women, who because their home is not as fancy, they spend a lot of time trying to make it overly fancy. I'm not into the ornate displays of the home. I'm more into like rustic, like log cabin, something high up in the mountains. I do like castles, right? But my castle, if I lived in one, wouldn't be like fancy. It'd be like kind of more gothic looking, kind of a little more scary. And there'd be a chicken coop in the front of the castle. I like that one. In that times of ignorance. It is not fitting for a believer, man or woman, when a matter has been decided by Allah and His Apostle, to have any option about their decision. If anyone disobeys Allah and His Apostle, he is indeed on a clearly wrong path. Behold, thou didst say to one who received the grace of Allah and thy favor, retain thou in wedlock thy wife, and fear Allah. But thou didst hide in thy heart that which Allah was about to make manifest. Thou didst fear the people, but it is more fitting that thou should fear Allah. Then when Zayd had dissolved his marriage with her with the necessary formality, we joined her in marriage to thee, in order that in future there may be no difficulty to the believers in the matter of marriage with the wives of their adopted sons. When the latter have dissolved with the necessary formality their marriage with them, and Allah's command must be fulfilled, there can be no difficulty to the Prophet in what Allah has indicated to him as a duty. It was the practice approved of Allah amongst those of old that have passed away, and the command of Allah is a decree determined. What a beautiful way to say that. A decree determined. It is the practice of those who preach the messages of Allah and fear Him and fear none but Allah, and enough is Allah to call men to account. Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, but he is the apostle of Allah and the seal of the prophets, and Allah has full knowledge of all things. O ye who believe, celebrate the praises of Allah, and do this often, and glorify Him morning and evening. He it is who sends blessings on you, as do His angels, that He may bring you out from the depths of darkness into light, and He is full of mercy to the believers. Fear none but Allah. That's a hard one. Whew. It's hard because there's a lot of people out there who really want you to fear them. They want you to urinate in your pants when you come across them. Some people feed off fear and they make a hobby out of fear. You know, I don't know if you've ever met those kind, but fear is a currency that people love to make money off of. Their salutation on the day they meet Him will be peace, and He has prepared for them a generous reward. O Prophet, truly we have sent thee as a witness, a bearer of glad tidings, and a warner, and as one who invites to Allah's grace by His leave, and as a lamp spreading light. Then give the glad tidings to the believers, that they shall have from Allah a very great bounty. And obey not the behests of the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and heed not their annoyances. But put thy trust in Allah, for enough is Allah as a disposer of affairs. O ye who believe, when ye marry believing women and then divorce them before ye have touched them, no period of iddat have ye to count in respect of them. So give them a present, and set them free in a handsome manner. O Prophet, that's actually I should highlight that, especially when it comes to women's issues, right? O Prophet, we have made lawful to thee thy wives to whom thou hast paid their dowers, and those whom thy right hand possesses out of the prisoners of war whom Allah has assigned to thee, and daughters of thy paternal uncles and aunts, and daughters of thy maternal uncles and aunts who migrated from Mecca with thee, and any believing woman who dedicates her soul to the Prophet, if the Prophet wishes her to wed. This only for thee, and not for the believers at large. We know what we have appointed for them as to their wives, and the captives whom thy right hand possesses, in order that there should be no difficulty for thee. And Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. Now, I think I should point something out. So I noticed some people love to bring up the right hand possesses as like a slap against Islam, like, oh, why should you keep your women as captives in war? And then here's gonna be my pretty savage rebuttal. There is plenty of Christians who slaughtered pregnant and sold children into sex slavery who were Christian. Okay? Columbus, he did that. He sold Native American little girls into sex slavery. Okay? There were plenty of women who were burned at the stake for being accused of being witches who simply just knew how to make herbal teas and different medicinal remedies, because there was a time when humans had to actually go find medicine and didn't have white lab coats in giant buildings, you know? So I think it's very unfair. I think it's very unfair if people want to harp on that. That's not right. 51. Thou mayest defer the turn of any of them that thou pleasest, and thou mayest receive any thou pleasest, and there is no blame on thee if thou invite one of whose turn thou hadst set aside. This were nigher to the cooling of their eyes, the prevention of their grief, and their satisfaction that of all of them with that which thou hast to give them. And Allah knows all that is in your hearts, and Allah is all-knowing, most forbearing. It is not lawful for thee to marry more women after this, nor to change them for other wives, even though their beauty attract thee, except any thy right hand should possess as handmaidens, and Allah doth watch over all things. O ye who believe, enter not the Prophet's houses until leave is given you for a meal, and then not so early as to wait for its preparation. But when ye are invited, enter, and when ye have taken your meal, disperse, without seeking familiar talk. Such behavior annoys the Prophet. He is ashamed to dismiss you, but Allah is not ashamed to tell you the truth. And when ye ask his ladies for anything ye want, ask them before a screen. That makes for greater purity for your hearts and for theirs. Nor is it right for you that ye should annoy Allah's apostle, or that ye should marry his widows after him at any time. Oh. So I could definitely see people wanting to definitely marry any woman who was formerly with the apostles. Yeah, they would definitely be what you would call a trophy wife. Yeah, I could definitely see people wanting to do that. Truly such a thing is in Allah's sight an enormity, whether ye reveal anything or conceal it. Verily, Allah has full knowledge of all things. Yeah. That would be crazy, right? If you have that going on. Yeah, and it's true. You can't, if somebody's making you a meal, you can't just hang out and wait. Making like, where's the food? Puts more angst on the cook. Someone who cooks a lot. If somebody keeps asking me when the food is ready or gives me the look like the food is ready, it's almost like I stop making the food with love. Very interesting section so far. And heed not their annoyances.